Last video, we talked about the 5 things economic collapse makes useless first. The house, the financed car, the degree, the paper promises, the lifestyle junk. So now comes the only question that matters. If those are the things collapse destroys first, what actually survives? What still holds value when the system starts choking? What still works when paper wealth starts lying to you? That's this video. When systems get weaker, the things that survive are usually the things that stay. Useful, portable, tradeable, or life-supporting. That's the pattern. So let's go through the 5 assets that actually survive economic collapse. Not because they're magical, because when paper systems crack, reality gets a vote. Number 5, productive skills and tools. Let's start with the most underrated asset of all. You, your skills, your hands, your ability to solve real problems when the formal economy stops rewarding fake ones. That survives. Because collapse changes what gets paid. In stable times, polished credentials can dominate. In stressed times, practical usefulness starts beating prestige fast. If you can repair things, build things, grow things, wire things, haul things, mend things, sharpen things, or fix things other people depend on, you still have value. That matters. Because a lot of assets can be frozen, taxed, inflated away, or trapped inside systems you no longer trust. But skill travels. Skill adapts. Skill can feed you, trade for something, lower your dependence, or create income when the old routes start closing. And the same goes for tools. Not gadgets, not overpriced toys. Tools. Things that help you do something real. That's why this one survives. Because collapse punishes passivity. It rewards capability. And that's the first hopeful part. Sometimes, the people who hold up best are not the richest people in the room. They're the people who can still do something useful. Number 4, essential commodities. Food, water, fuel, medicine, batteries, basic hygiene, the boring stuff. This category survives because reality does not stop being reality just because the financial system gets uglier. People still need to eat. They still need clean water. They still need to cook. They still need medicine. They still need heat, light, sanitation, and basic stability. That's why these things hold. Not because they're glamorous, because they are unavoidable. And this is where collapse gets very honest. A lot of people spend years buying things that signal taste, identity, or success. Then the system tightens, and suddenly, the most valuable things in the room are the plain, boring, functional things nobody bragged about. That's not dramatic, that's just true. Now, I'm not telling people to panic buy 6 years of canned food and turn their apartment into a warehouse. That's not the lesson. The lesson is that basics are not extra. They are a buffer, and buffers matter when systems start failing. Because the first win in a bad system is not becoming rich, it's reducing panic. If you have food, water, medicine, and basic supplies, you buy yourself time. And time is one of the most valuable assets in a crisis. That's what people miss. The basics are not small. The basics are the floor. Number 3, productive land or usable space. Notice I didn't just say real estate. That matters, because not all property survives collapse the same way. A giant, expensive house bought at the wrong point can become a trap. We just covered that. But productive land, or even usable space, is different. Space that grows food, space that stores supplies, space that lowers dependence, space that gives you options. That survives better. Because the land that matters in hard times is not the land that looks impressive. It's the land that does something. That's the key. Can it grow? Can it support? Can it store? Can it reduce your exposure to broken systems? That's the test. And for most people, this does not mean go buy a farm tomorrow. It might mean a gardenable yard, a small, useful lot, a place with water access, a shared family property, or just a shift in mindset from appearance to function. That's the real lesson. In stable times, land gets judged by appreciation.
In hard times,
Land gets judged by utility. That's a huge difference. And that makes this more possible than people think. Sometimes it's a backyard. Sometimes it's a balcony setup. Sometimes it's one small patch that lets you depend on one less broken system. Number 2, silver and gold. These survive for a reason. When people stop trusting paper, they go looking for something outside the paper promise. That's where gold and silver keep showing up. Not because they're magical, not because they solve every problem, not because buying one coin turns you into some kind of collapse wizard, because they are outside the same system that can be printed, diluted, manipulated, frozen, or lied about. That matters. Gold is mainly about preserving wealth. Silver is more flexible, smaller, more divisible, more practical for lower-level exchange. That's why the pair makes sense. Gold for preservation, silver for flexibility. Now keep this grounded. This is not me telling someone with barely enough for rent to go full pirate treasure mode. That would be stupid. The point is the principle. Hard stores of value survive because they are harder to fake and harder to print into garbage. That's why people keep running back to them every time trust breaks. But this part matters. Gold and silver are not the whole answer. If you have metals but no food, no skills, no buffer, no flexibility, then congratulations, you own shiny panic. That's not the goal. The goal is balance. You do not need one giant perfect move. You need a few real ones. Number 1, a collapse-resistant mix. This is the most important asset of all. Not one thing, a mix. That's the answer. Because the biggest mistake people make is believing there is one perfect collapse asset, one winner, one hero play, one thing to go all in on. There isn't. That kind of thinking belongs to bubbles. What survives collapse is usually not one magical object. It's a layered position. A little hard money, a little buffer, useful skills, useful tools, useful space, things that preserve, things that produce, things that reduce your dependence. That's how you survive better. Not with a fantasy, with layers. That's what makes this more useful than just yelling, buy gold. Because collapse resistance is not about chasing one heroic asset. It's about keeping your options alive. That's the phrase, keeping your options alive. Here's the real lesson. When systems get weaker, appearances matter less and usefulness matters more. That's it. The last video was about what collapse turns into dead weight. This one is about what collapse still respects. And what it respects is not status, not paper prestige, not financial theater. It respects utility. It respects scarcity. It respects flexibility. It respects the ability to solve real problems when the old machine stops solving them for you. That's the hopeful part, because a lot of that can still be built. Not all at once, not perfectly, but deliberately. A little more buffer, a little more skill, a little more usefulness, a little less dependence, a little more optionality. That is not paranoia. That is preparation. And if the first video made you rethink what can turn useless first, this one should do something better. It should remind you that not everything breaks at the same speed. Some things still hold. Some things still work. Some things still carry weight when the rest starts failing. And once you know that, you stop looking at the future the same way.